Hello, it is I, Dagoth Ur, and welcome to my Cauldron Man tier list, where the women are non-existent and these men are getting paid internship wages for years to come. For starters, let's begin with Bear Claw, a man who has been with JGX for quite some time. What is he known for? Well, I couldn't say too much really aside from being a competitive player in recent years and previously being a secret squirrel, as they call it for PGI back then. He's going into the B tier mainly because he has some good suggestions, but fails to really address the rest of the Cauldron men with solid wisdom. He is the leader of them, but does not crack the whip as often as he should. But that's naturally forthcoming as someone in a group where at one point half of them were on the same group or unit, so I can see why it would be hard to do so. Next up, we have... I can't pronounce that wacko name properly. Krasnopeski. Forgive me if I've pronounced it wrong. Kraz is a long-time competitive player who has been in the game for a while now and has had some pretty good insights. I'll be putting him at A tier for the moment, mainly because he does get some things done, but the main issue I see with him is that while one side of the coin looks good, the other side does not, including but not limited to not buffing the goddamn archer like it should be buffed, or my favorite mech, the trebuchet. Instead, they collect dust in my mech lab like some old trinkets. And if the reasoning is because some mechs should be bad, whomever Cauldron men think this should be sacrificed to the gods above, and new blood should be introduced into the cooking pot. Because that line of thinking is exactly why the population has been declining. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Let's continue. Now we have G-Ram. Where do I start? A tier, for starters. He's been a fairly new and upcoming competitive player, like the rest of us who still play competitive in a space where very few new good players ever arise. He took the reins by force and made himself a new team after deciding he wanted to carve out his little piece of land out in this game. Not to mention, he has fairly good reasoning for ideas and isn't afraid to listen or push back on ideas he agrees or disagrees with. The only reason why he's no S tier is because he's still fairly new and we still have a lot to see from him, whether that be good or bad for that matter. Now we have Pasha. All I know of him is that he's been around for a long time and a decent shooter, C tier. Because I haven't seen a single lick of his opinion, and he only shows up in the MWO Comp Discord to fight against anyone who talks mad shit about his team. Dario is next. Also C tier because I hardly see him engage either with his opinions. Teos. What can I say? He's also been around for a long time and worked his way up. B tier, unfortunately, because he does have hot takes and doesn't always seem like he thinks for himself at times, which again is not surprising given the circumstances. Moving on. Mr. Vad. I don't think I can say much of him because, like the others, he doesn't engage B tier, but only because he made that configuration mod for better performance in the game. Otherwise, he would be a low C tier. Magic Pain Glove. Longtime player. Fairly new competitive player. He streams from time to time and has a fairly decent audience and good gameplay. I give him a B, mainly because he is too humble for the position he's in and doesn't seem like he wants to grind some gears, although that's exactly what his position entails when he's a part of a group that's in charge of making the balance decent enough to enjoy. Fix the damn archer. Magic Pain Glove, more like passive Pain Glove. Next. Just call me Ash, longtime player, benchwarmer for EMP. But what can you say? It's hard to hate someone that's fairly outspoken and likable guy, at least as long as you can handle the rough handling. If you don't, well, you probably won't like him too much. Like Pain Glove, he streams and is very enjoyable to watch as he does have skill in this game. As far as I know, he does manage to get some things done, solid A tier, but only because sometimes he manhandles people too hard, but hard to blame him when this guy owns a restaurant and has to deal with the asinine workers who cry that they aren't getting paid enough for the micro-labor they do. Bowser, retired EMP player, current leader of Abens, good shooter, good thinker, and is fairly out there in the community at times. A tier, mainly because he sometimes has a single-track mind and at times finds it hard to see the other side of the picture, however, compared to the others that says more than most. As far as people being in the Cauldron goes who try to get things done the right way. Navid is up now, A tier all the way. S tier, though, if he became community manager, because that's how much you can respect him, but also because some things don't get done right. But he's only an Imperial for that, so can't blame him to a fault too much. Data is a C tier as he often has hot takes that I've heard of and also has an echo chamber of a YouTube channel with shitty clickbait titles and videos. He tries to push that he is some great cauldron man, but I tend to disagree. He's a decent shooter, no doubt, but I hardly believe he is the one with the best opinion, especially when you compare him to someone like Navid in the Cauldron, or Kraz even, for starters. If he dropped the video titles and focused more on being informal instead of biased, I'd given him A tier for sure. Soma is a C tier, mainly because he doesn't communicate always with the community too much aside from his streams. He does have a grasp of the game, but again just needs to communicate more. Jay-Z is up now, C tier, because he doesn't engage with the community, and I don't remember him for too many notable things these days. But that doesn't mean we should dismiss him so easily. He has had some great ideas from time to time that do make its way into the game, and I'm grateful for that. Now it's time for Brower. Also B tier, he engages with the community as well, but honestly, like Tio's, he does have some hot takes and doesn't seem to think too much for themselves either. But I hope that both of them do eventually grow as Cauldron Men and make the game as good as it can get, because it needs all the help it can get. Captain Cat C tier. I don't know them very well, and I haven't seen much of them, if at all. Communicate more with the community, and you get a solid B or even A tier. Moving on. And finally, we have Brios. He gets a B tier mainly because, unlike Data, he does provide solid videos on his YouTube channel that isn't always full of bias. And you can also watch his streams for content. Like Soma, though he isn't the best at that game, and I feel that impairs their potential to really put their opinion together. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you hear any of the Cauldron Men get mad at this video, then it's confirmed that they are actually at fault for the things I say. Elsewise, the rest of you are dirty outlanders and will not get any more from me unless you come and look upon the heart.